Hi everyone, here's a quick tip Tuesday. What to do at a walkthrough. So a walkthrough in real estate is you walk through the property right before closing to make sure that the property is in the same condition as it was when you wrote the contract and signed off on it. The other thing you're going to look for is if there are any agreements between the buyer and seller. The seller will fix things that came up in the inspection report. So you want to go through and check those things and make sure that those items were taken care of. In the Pennsylvania contract, paragraph 4 is the settlement and possession paragraph. And basically it's kind of simple that the seller only has to present the property broom swept and free of debris, and also to give the keys to the buyer. That's basically it. So if you're looking for windows to be washed or appliances to be cleaned, that usually doesn't happen. Sometimes it will if the seller's really nice and goes above and beyond. So when you arrive at the property with your agent, things you want to do, you want to run the air conditioner, you want to run the heating system, make sure those are working. You want to go through all of the appliances unless they're in as-is condition as stated in the contract. If they are not sold in as-is condition, then all of the appliances should be in working condition. So you want to check the oven, you want to check the burners, you want to check the microwave, and the water is hot and cold. In the kitchen, flush the toilets, make sure nothing is leaking. Look up in the ceiling, make sure there are no leaks that have occurred. Do an outside walk and make sure there's no flaws or issues that have come up since either the inspection or since you went under contract on the property. And another big issue that comes up is fireplaces. Every fireplace is different how it works. So you want to make sure your agent addresses that maybe like a week before and just check the fireplace that the pilot light is on, and then see how to turn it on. Sometimes it's a switch, sometimes it's a remote, sometimes you have to get down on the floor, open up this thing and figure out the buttons to turn it on. So I've seen all kinds of fireplaces, and that is something that a week before I always make sure that it is in working condition and can be shown at the walkthrough that it is in working condition. And here in Pennsylvania, the buyer has to switch over utilities into their name on the day of closing. So if the buyer forgets to do that or doesn't do it for some reason, then we can get to walkthrough and none of the utilities on and you can't check anything, and that's on the buyer. So that's really important too, to make sure all the utilities are in the buyer's name for the day of closing. That's pretty much it with a walkthrough. If issues do come up, then a negotiation occurs. You can ask for credit, you can ask for them to fix it real quick. That seems difficult to do if closing is that day. Just some issues I've had from minor to major that I've had with walkthroughs. I've had a stain on a carpet show up because the bed was moved out and you couldn't see it when you walked through. So the seller gave the buyer a small amount of cash for credit towards that, because if they put another bed down, you wouldn't see the stain. So most likely they weren't going to switch out carpet right away. And probably the worst situation I've had is we showed up for a walkthrough and the house was full of furniture and clothes. And my buyers had to move in that day. Like, they were renting and they had moved out and the truck was like on its way. So I took off my suit jacket and I was like, I don't know what else to do. Let's just help them get it into the garage. They can lock up the house and give us the keys and come back and get stuff out of the garage. But yeah, that was probably the worst walkthrough I've had. Thanks a lot for watching, and be sure to come back every Tuesday for more real estate tips.